Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the Zera Shimshon Shir. We're in Parshas Balak-The. The Zera Shimshon begins, Brachas Perakama. V'hainu d'amalu Navi Yisrael. The Navi told Klal Yisrael, Ami, my nation, Zocher no ma'ya'atz Balak. The Navi says, remember what Balak wanted to do to Klal Yisrael. He hired Balaam to help him destroy Klal Yisrael. And remember that Hashem, as we're going to see, did not get angry and thereby did not allow Balak and Balaam to fulfill their wish to hurt Klal Yisrael. Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael, Ru'u kamet tzidkos asisi imachem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Klal Yisrael, look at all the tzedakahs, the good things that I did at the time of Balak and Balaam, that I did not get angry. We made Balaam HaRasha. Because as we know, there's a certain moment in the day, as the Gemara brings down in Brachas, that Hashem gets angry. And no one except for Balaam knew when that moment was. Because if you would know when that moment was, and you would curse an individual, that curse would come true, would be effective. The Gemara brings a story that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, I believe it was Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, wanted to know when the time was. He put a chicken by his bed. As the Gemara says that when the time comes that Hashem gets angry, the chickens, the crown, the red crown on the chicken would pop up. And it says that he fell asleep. So it says that by Balaam, who tried to curse Klal Yisrael at that moment, Hashem did not get angry. Because Shilmale Kasti, Hashem said, if I would get angry, Lo nishtayr misoneim shel Yisrael saru l'palo. Chas v'shalom, there would be no remnant left from Klal Yisrael. The Hiksha Rif, the Rif, which is on the Ein Yaakov asks, the Lidrashazu min hashitim ala Gilgal. The pasuk then continues and says min hashitim, from the place called Shittim until a Gilgal. What does that have to do with the fact that Hashem didn't get angry? What is the fact that Balaam and Balak, as we see in this week's parsha, went from place to place to try to curse Klal Yisrael? What does that have to do with the fact that Hashem did not get angry on that moment during the day? That is a time, as we see, that Hashem gets angry. What does that have to do with the different places that Balaam and Balak went to try and curse Klal Yisrael? As we learn in the parsha, they went from place to place to try to curse Klal Yisrael. Lloyd Hiksham Afarsham, another question. The Lefize, according to this, what we explained, Mash Amr Chazal, from the brachas of Balaam, we know that Balaam wanted to curse Klal Yisrael. Hashem did not allow him, so he said brachas. But from the brachas that he gave to Klal Yisrael, nikra mahayu believa lekalol, you could really learn what he really wanted to curse. He flipped, he changed what he wanted to say from a curse to a bracha, but from his bracha you can see what he really had in mind to curse Klal Yisrael. V'hainu diksiv, as it says in the pasuk, v'yahafach Hashem alekecha l'chas hakol habracha. Hashem turned the klal into a bracha. So says the Zera Shimshon, in the name of the Mefarshim, I don't understand. If Hashem didn't get angry, Hashem did a special thing, that at the moment of Zam, the moment that Hashem gets angry during the day, Hashem made a nace that he did not get angry, so who cares if Balaam cursed? It has no effect. Why did Hashem have to change the curses to brachas? It's true that brachas are always very good, but it seems to be that Hashem had to change the curse that Balaam wanted to put on Klal Yisrael into brachas, because if Hashem didn't, the curses would have been effective. It says the Zera Shimshon, why would have it been effective if Hashem didn't get angry at that time? Okay. A third question, the Parach Mai Laman Tzidkas Hashem. It says that you should know the tzidkas of Hashem, which seems to be that the Gemara had a question. There was something bothering the Gemara that it had to say, Klal Yisrael, know what Hashem did for you. What was bothering the Gemara? What was bothering Klal Yisrael that we had to have this response? So it comes out that we have three questions. First question is, why did the pasuk have to tell us all the places that Balaam and Balak went to try to curse Klal Yisrael? What does that have to do with the fact that Hashem didn't get angry? The second question is, if Hashem made a nace and he didn't get angry, So why was it necessary to turn the curses into brachas? Hashem didn't get angry, so that would have no effect. It seems to be that if Hashem did not turn the curses into brachas, chas v'shalom, it would have been effective. Says the Zera Shimshon, why would have it been effective? Hashem didn't get angry. And the third question is, what was bothering the Gemara? What was bothering the Navi that he had to tell Klal Yisrael, you should know the good things that Hashem did for Klal Yisrael? The Nir Latar. So now the Zera Shimshon is going to answer each question. He's going to start with the last question. Al Achron Rishon. Sheklal Gadol B'Yadeinu. We have a rule. Shakadosh Baruch Hu dones Yisrael l'toiva b'shul ha'tov she'asidim lasas. Hashem will judge a person favorably now for something that he will do good in the future. Right? The Gemara says that Avraham Avinu was saved because of Yaakov. Well, Yaakov wasn't alive yet. Right? We learned in last week's Parshat that Korach thought that because his descendant Shmuel HaNavi would come from him, who was a great tzaddik, he would be saved. He didn't realize that ultimately it was his children who were saved. So we see this concept that Hashem will judge a person favorably today for something good in the future, even though that in the future he may do something bad. So when a person does something bad in the future, that's when Hashem will punish the individual. But today, Hashem could punish you, could reward you today for something good that you'll do in the future. There's a big Indian by Rosh Hashanah, we accept Kabbalahs on ourselves. And the Bali Musar and all the Mefarshim say, what does that mean? What is that? Very nice that you accepted upon yourself a Kabbalah. So next year, Rosh Hashanah, they'll check. Did you do it? Did you not do it? How does that help you today, this year, Rosh Hashanah? Says the Bali Musar, and many others say that when you accept upon yourself a Kabbalah in earnest, with sincerity, Hashem views it as you did it already. For sure, if Hashem knows that you did it, it helps you. But even if, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out exactly as you want, but since the Kabbalah creates a mitzias, creates facts on the ground that you accepted upon yourself to do something, Hashem already judges you favorably. And therefore, Vayar Elokim es Yisrael, and the Zera Shimshon brings a medrash that says that why did Hashem take Klal Yisrael out of Mitzrayim? Lamaisa, they were going to do the Chet Egel. Hashem says, even still, I know that they're going to do Nasa v'Nishma, and for them doing Nasa v'Nishma in 40 days from Yetzias Mitzrayim, 50 days from Yetzias Mitzrayim, no, it's about 43 days, I'm ready to take them out. She'af api, we're skipping a few lines. Sha'iroyu shasidim al-shiyah. Even though in the future they were going to do an Aveira, still, Hashem said, I'm going to do good to them, to take them out because of Nasa v'Nishma. V'hachanami amar kasav. So therefore the Pasuk is telling us, by the case of Balaam and Balak, the Pasuk is telling us the same thing. Zochar na mayadz Balak melech Moav. Uma ana osa Balaam ben Beor min hashitim ala Gilgal. For example, the reason that the Pasuk said that they went to specifically these two places, because Balaam and Balak saw that in the future, Klal Yisrael was going to do an Aveira in Shittim. Shechatu Sham Yisrael, Klal Yisrael did an Aveira, and they wanted to use that future knowledge that they were going to do an Aveira to start already prosecuting Klal Yisrael today. To tell Hashem, don't do good for Klal Yisrael. You're going to see that in a certain time, in this place called Shittim, which we're standing today, they're going to do bad. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, it's true, that but up until that point, they're going to do good. That Yeshua is going to do bris milah for Klal Yisrael. And therefore, Hashem said, I'm ignoring what you're saying, that what Klal Yisrael is going to do in the future, because of the good that they're going to do in the future. So the Pasuk is telling us that you should know what Hashem did for you. That Balaam and Balak went to places that they saw through their witchcraft, through their sorcery, as we're going to learn, and saw that Klal Yisrael was going to do an Aveira in this place. We know that when Avraham Avinu went to Shem, right, he became weak because he saw, and in different places, Rashi says he became weak because he saw that Klal Yisrael was going to do an Aveira. The Aveira didn't happen for another 1,000 years. Doesn't make a difference. There's already a Roshan. There's a famous story with Rebbe Elimelech and Reb Zisha. Rebbe Elimelech and Reb Zisha decided to take upon themselves to go into Golos, to travel Europe. They had a lot of different reasons for it. And it's the legend, the Dover Yudu, is that they came to Auschwitz. When they came to Auschwitz, Reb Zisha told Reb Elimelech he has to leave. He feels there's a tremendous tumah in this place. And they left. And eventually we know why they left. But Auschwitz didn't happen, unfortunately, for another 100, at least 100, 125 years. There are places in the world that is designated for Peronias, designated that Klal Yisrael leaves a mark. And even though they're not there yet, that mark is already there. Right? As it says when Klal Yisrael left the Midbar, in certain places they did Averis. Why? They didn't have Torah. So you see this concept that Balaam and Balak were able to recognize that in this place called Shittim, and Gilgal was a place that Klal Yisrael would do Averis, and they wanted to use that to prosecute Klal Yisrael. Hashem ignored them. And that's what the Navi was telling us. You should know that from Shittim till Gilgal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Klal Yisrael was going to do an Avera, but since up until that point, or since in the future Klal Yisrael was going to do mitzvahs, Hashem focused right now on the mitzvahs and not on the Averis. As we continue inside the Zera Shimshon, Laman das tzidkas Hashem. Lefi pshutei, zu ha-tzedakah sh'asa imanu sh'shkiach l'tov v'shkiach l'ra. It seems to be that what was the tzedakah that Hashem did for us is that Hashem focused on the good and ignored the future Averis that we were going to do. This is what the Gemara was asking. Why do we have to know that Hashem did tzedakah for us? We already know this concept, as we mentioned before, that Hashem looks at the future good and not on the future bad. So for that, I needed the pasuk to tell me that Hashem did us a tzedakah, that He ignored the fact that Balaam and Balak was telling him that in Shittim and in Gilgal, Klal Yisrael will do Averis. We already know that from Mitzrayim. We already know, like we said, that Hashem saw that Klal Yisrael would say Nasa v'nishma, so He took us out from Mitzrayim. The Tiritz, so he says, no, that wasn't tzedakah. That was already instituted in the way Hashem runs the world. The tzedakah that Klal Yisrael got from HaKadosh Baruch Hu was that at the moment that Hashem set up to get angry every day, Hashem did not get angry. So now we understand the whole shalshelis of the psukim. What is the Laman das tzidkas Hashem? Because the Gemara wants to know, to tell me that they didn't get angry when Balaam and Balak said that, look, Klal Yisrael is doing Averis, punish them now. That we already know that Hashem doesn't do. We know that from Yetzias Mitzrayim. So what was the tzedakah that Hashem did with us? That at the moment of Zam, Hashem did not get angry. V'hashta kosher kushas meforshim. So now we go back to the next question. If Hashem didn't get angry, lama loy lahafach, why did Hashem have to turn the clothes to brachos? V'afilu im hoye mekalev lo hoye b'dvar klum. V'hameforshim tirtzu shapir. Shagolu hoye lefana sheYisrael asidin lichtov la'anish kedesh lo yamru umay shekilu as bilam garma lehem. And therefore, the reason that Hashem did it is because Hashem knew that in the future Klal Yisrael would do Averis, and in the future, not now, but in the future, Hashem would have to punish them. Hashem did not want that people should say, you know why they got punished? Because 100 years ago, Balaam cursed them. Right? We know that one of the reasons that it took a while for Rivka to have her children was because Lavan gave her a bracha. Lavan gave her a bracha, you should be a mother for thousands. Hashem did not want them to have a child right away, that people shouldn't say it was because of the bracha that Balaam gave to them. That's one of the reasons. So you see here too, Hashem did not want people to say, oh, you know why Klal Yisrael got punished? Because Balaam cursed them. So Hashem said, therefore, not that I have to change the klolos to brachas, because if he would curse them, it would come true. No, it wouldn't come true. But so much so that Hashem was so careful for the covet of Klal Yisrael that He changed the curses to brachas, that people should not say that the reason that Klal Yisrael got punished 150 years later was because of Balaam's curses. So therefore Hashem changed it. So now there's our Shimshon, and we're going to end off with this, asks a beautiful kasha. He says, I don't understand, says the Zera Shimshon. Let's go through the discussion between Balaam and Balak. Balak hired Balaam to curse Klal Yisrael. He knew that Balaam knew the moment that Klal Yisrael, that Hashem gets angry. So if that's the case, what was the purpose of Balaam and Balak doing all sorts of witchcraft and sorcery to curse Klal Yisrael? It's not necessary. Once you already know the moment that Hashem gets angry, all you have to get up at that moment and say whatever you want to say. So to have curses, witchcraft, and the choshem to curse Klal Yisrael doesn't make sense. It says the Zera Shimshon v'yashloim damrinu b'perkam d'chulin ein oid malvadoi. There's a famous Gemara that a sorcerer took earth under the feet of Reb Chanina, to use it to curse him. And he said to her, Ein oid malvadoi, I'm not worried about it. Right? Everything comes from Hashem. I'm connected to Hashem. Your witchcraft has no effect on me. And therefore, Balaam and Balak wanted to curse Klal Yisrael through witchcraft and through sorcery. Because they were afraid that maybe Klal Yisrael would have schusim, and therefore the cursing wouldn't help. And even to curse, right, Klal Yisrael, when Hashem gets angry, they were nervous that in itself wouldn't be enough. So why did they use witchcraft and sorcery? The Zera Shimshon says a beautiful chiddush. He says the witchcraft and the sorcery was not to curse Klal Yisrael, because they knew that just cursing Klal Yisrael, even when Hashem gets angry, would not be enough. Rather, the purpose of them using the sorcery and the witchcraft was to identify the places that Klal Yisrael would do an Aveira. Once they knew that Klal Yisrael did an Aveira in this place, they could then use that as a launching pad to prosecute Klal Yisrael. So you see here how everything tied in, which means they used the sorcery and the witchcraft to identify that Shittim and Gilgal were places that Klal Yisrael would do an Aveira. Once there were places, they recognized those places, they said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, curse them. And Kaviyachol, Hashem would have to curse them based on the fact that Klal Yisrael will do an Aveira. But because Hashem already instituted this concept, right, that He does not look at future Aveiras, Hashem only looks at future brachas, their cursing had no effect. But in reality, had they cursed Klal Yisrael at the moment that Hashem get angry, it would have been effective. And therefore Hashem did not get angry at that moment, and that was the great tzedakah that Hashem did for us. And mitzvah Hashem continue to do great mercy for us, even though we may not deserve it, based on the fact that we're learning the Zera Shimshon now. We want to continue to learn the Zera Shimshon, and it should be a Melech Yosher for all of us.